all the men, all the gentlemen, all the ladies. I mean, who are we kidding? It's a war game show. There ain't no ladies in the audience. And to all the starships in jump space on this March 18th, the year of our Lord 2024, we're going to live stream. I know we just did this a little bit ago, but I wanted to do another episode right away because as I was documenting the events of yesterday, the gang war and kind of slipping on to the money crater at the last minute, getting Chad Solo off of Corvinus, which frankly, I might miss this place. There's a lot of fun to be had there. This may be our starting point for any replacement characters if we wind up jumping into a black hole again. But as I was transferring the information for the planets, I realized I have 3 other planets that I have not detailed yet. So that's going to be the purpose of today. We have a lot of logistics we have to complete to get ready to figure out what the economics of the money crater are going to be. So let me turn my camera around and drop it down on the penfold sector so I can show you what I mean. We have, let's get right in there, just nice and intimate, right on top. So down here, we've got Corvinus. This is where our hero is, and he will be until later this week. We have 3 planets that are a jump 2 away that we have not detailed yet. We went and we detailed Herndon and Cyric at the end of the last episode, but we still have Shauner, Vegas, and Tobor. All I know about these 3 systems is the starport that they hold. As we look at the money crater's options, remember it's a subsidized hauler, so we're going to have to come up with a general route. He's running a loop. We got to figure out a good loop that he can run. And with a jump 3 engine, he can jump 2. But I need to know what's going on in these systems before I know whether it's even worth jumping into them. Of course, we have a real difficult time because we only have one source of refined fuel. That's up here at Cyric, which means we probably want to be jumping back and forth so that we're not stacking up those penalties for jumping using unrefined fuel. But we need to figure out what the populations are. That's the chief concern for a freighter that we've got here is, can I get the right juice? I need go juice. And are there enough people to justify the expense? Remember, it costs anywhere, it's 180 tons of fuel, so that's anywhere from 1,800 to like 72 grand. Let's see, 5 times 18 is going to be 80. Anywhere from 16 to 80 grand just for the fuel costs alone. And if we're only getting 2 of those, we have to tack on all the rest of the ancillary expenses, staff, staterooms, all of that. So this figuring out this route is going to be a little bit of a trick, but we can't do that until we know what our options are. So that's going to be today is building these 3 planets. And if I may, if you will indulge me for a moment, this is our calendar. We thought that the ship, the money crater, and I can actually change this now. So Chad finally got put on at the last minute. But remember that we had city riots going on for these 2 days that ground everything to a halt. That's why they grabbed Chad. I was thinking about it as I wrote up the results of our last session together. I realized that there's a couple of things going on. First of all, of course they would pick Chad to be their negotiator. He's one of the few logoless mans that they've got. Remember that on this planet, it is a feudal technocracy. So you grow up and you owe allegiance to one of the 8 megacorporations. And I'm guessing that the Church of Dagon is a bit of a wild card that's been siphoning people off and is giving people split loyalties, whether they're going to be loyal to the church or to the corporations. And so the corporations brought it, because it was corporation hooligans going up against the church. It's possible that was an op run by one or more of the corporations to try to get the Dagonians out of the system, and it failed spectacularly thanks to Chad. Now, when he did his negotiation, he succeeded in achieving a peace, but it is absolutely more a piece of Versailles than it is a piece of Westphalia, because it's going to fall apart here pretty soon. And the corporations are not happy with Chad because it cost them a lot of money. They had to pay a significant chunk of change in order to shut down the Chow, the Corvinus autonomous unit of whatever. I can't remember what we called it. or do we call it CHAC, the autonomous zone? Oh, that's what it was. It was the Corvinus Humanity Autonomous Zone or something like that. But the point is, going to the end, it shut down business for 2 days, and there's nothing businesses hate more than when they can't do business. Like, bear in mind, even during that little bit of silliness where they locked everyone out of the churches. I mean, the churches were not important. You don't have to do that. But they didn't shut down even something as ridiculous as the cannabis dispensaries, right? We all know in the countries in which we live where religion ranks on the totem pole. And it ain't anywhere near the top these days. So the same thing would happen here. The corporations are like, I don't care what we have to do, get those credits flowing again. Because things were shut down for 2 days, that means that the money crater couldn't lift off, and that's going to push liftoff onto Sunday, which gives us money crater liftoff. That's kind of a misnomer, though. I'm using the wrong term there. Remember, the money crater is not capable of atmospheric flight. So I'm going to put right down delayed here. What we really mean is that the loading of the money crater in orbit is delayed for 2 days. It can't leave orbit until Sunday, which gives us a little bit more time to figure out who the crew is. Now, I already have most of the major crew members assigned. We're still looking to recruit a junior engineer and a steward's assistant and an assistant to the steward. I think this is wrong. We have a chief engineer, we have a senior engineer, and then we have a steward's assistant, and then we have an assistant to the steward. Assist to steward. All right, and then we have a gunner, Paul Stanley. So let's check in on the chat at this point. We're really just going to be rolling dice and building 3 more planets. Who else in the house now? I appreciate you guys coming in. Maximilian Hovar, Corvinus in the house. Fantastic. We're going to be taking our leave of your system, Corvinus. Hope you don't mind. We'll be returning, of course, because our subsidized freighter is subsidized by the corporations, and he's the reason for this ship's existence is so that he can get the kelp farm products and all of the meat that they extract from the oceans, all that hump whale blubber out to these outer systems. It's probably a delicacy. It goes for a high price among the hoi polloi, although probably not the hoi polloi of, I think it was Cyric. Is that the one that, like, nobody lives there? So we got our one sheet here. We can find out pretty quickly. Yeah, Cyric is the one where there's only a few hundred people there. Janov, heavy ciphering going on here. Yeah, we're referencing everything we can, and it's a mystery. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and figure out. And so there's a couple of different places we have to record this information. I'll show you how I deal with this. I have, and I think I've showed this before, but people are coming on all the time. So I've got my star map here, which is only, we got about, what is this, 11, and then we're probably about a third of the way done. So 11, and then that's 4 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 16, so 27, 28, 29. We've got about 30 of our 80, so 3/8 of the way done. And when we make our jump to one of these systems, that will open up the possibility. With a jump 3, we'll have to go through and basically we'll finish off a huge swathe of our sector. It's a fun experience, but it takes a lot of time, and I'm enjoying kind of going through it as we play. But as we play now, I mean, we're to the point. So this is my 1 page. 2 of these ought to cover. Oh, it looks like I need to print up another one of those. I had another one. Yeah, there it is. So with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, 36. 2 pages should do it for the most part. There's 18 systems on a page. Ooh, we might need a 3rd page with a couple of more. Not a bad idea. I'll tell you what, I'll make the Joy of Wargaming branded 3-ring binder. I'll make that one of my stretch goals for my Kickstarter for the physical product that I'm never going to sell, because if you've ever seen me design scenarios, you know that when it comes to game design, my strengths are in not doing it. I'm really more of a showman than a producer. You keep me in front of the camera where my pretty face does all the good. Don't ask me to do the brains behind the outfit, because I'm lacking. So then, once I've generated those numbers here, I flip and I take Mark Miller's advice. And so here's the one page for Harkwind that has all the relevant information. See, we've got, here's where it's located. Here's the hex number. Here's the UPP, the Universal Planetary Profile. Is it anything special going on here? Non-industrial, etc. We have a scout base. Is there a gas giant? And that's what we need to generate for. And I forgot to do this. For the last two systems, remember when we rolled up Herndon? I forgot with a Class D starport, there is a scout base on a 7 or better. There is a scout base. Is there a gas giant? We need to roll a 10 or better for there not to be one. There is. So we can break out little flashes of color here. So that was, which one was that? Herndon? Yeah, gas giant. I can just, I wrote the rules down so I wouldn't forget. So Herndon has a gas giant and a scout base. So we put our little circle with the ring to show that there's a gas giant. And then with our ink pen, that one's for the Philly Bros. We put our, here's a little triangle for the scout base. You will not have a naval base at a Class D starport. For Cyric, and I've already checked, there's no bases on either of these. So Cyric here, the same thing. This is, and I have them organized by column and then by row. So Cyric, I have to do the same thing. Does it have a gas giant? On a 6 it does. Does it have, oh, but with a Class B starport, it will have a Navy base on an 8 or better. We have a Navy base, and it will have a scout base on a 9 or better. So no scouts, but we do have a naval base. My engineering, I have the mechanical eraser equivalent of there's no lead in my pencil. There we go. So we got to hold it in place. So no scout base, but we do have a Navy base. And we do have a gas giant. So likewise, we come over here and say, here's our little gas giant emblem. And then, I don't know why all of our gas giants have rings. That's just how it works. And then the Navy base is a little star right there, which makes sense. Okay, good deal. A Navy base for what? In the implied setting of the 3 Little Black Books, OG Proto Traveler, it's a Navy base of the Imperium. I kind of like, if you've ever read the War Dog series of books by, G.D. Stark is the guy's name. You would not believe who did the audiobooks for that. He doesn't receive any extra money, but you should go buy them and listen to them. He has the same thing, except instead of the Imperium, it's called Amor, A-M-O-R, which serves kind of the same purpose. They're the British Empire of that universal setting, and you can see the fingerprints of Traveler all over those books. If you're looking for a reading experience that mimics Traveler, go with War Dogs Incorporated. Follows a mercenary company. If you're looking for more of the free trader, the books you're looking for are called Sudden Rescue. There's a trilogy of them, and you can see the fingerprints of Traveler all over those books, which is interesting because the guy that wrote those hadn't played Traveler until he did it on camera for you right here on The Joy of Wargaming. But the style of science fiction that Traveler uses, its DNA is so hardwired into so much of science fiction that purely by cultural osmosis, the author of the Sudden Rescue, Sudden Danger, and I can't remember what the third one was, which is a little embarrassing. Those are wonderful Traveler books. Who would have thunk it? At any rate, enough of the plugs and enough of the, if you want to financially support the channel, that's really about the only way to do it. Go to Amazon, look for my books. Space Princess is another good science fiction book, but it doesn't have nearly as much of the Traveler feel to it, so might not be as relevant for y'all guys. Now that I think about it, let's start with these 3 systems, and let's take care of, since I'm right here anyway, let's take care of, do they have gas giants? I'm going to roll bing, 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 and on a 10 or better, we get a no for Vegas, we get a yes for Shauner, and we get a no for Tobor. So of these 3, Shauner is the only one that has a gas giant. Well, that's going to complicate matters because we can't pick up. Well, I think, see, Proto Traveler, we can skim it, but Proto Traveler doesn't have the rules for gas skimming. at least not until you get into some of the supplements. And of course, 1981, what we call Classic Traveler, so yes, Gas Giant, that's where you really get into the rules, and we may need to port that into this. There are certain holes. There's a reason that people demanded a refresh, a new edition, the Classic Traveler version. I think there's a lot of extra cruft on it, but again, I'm not an expert. So if we take a look here, bear in mind when you have a Class E starport, I don't think you have, let's see, I don't think you have, yeah, this is a bare rock, so there's not going to be any bases on Vegas. And there's only a scout base on Shawner on a 7 or better. There's no scout bases, so they ain't no bases. And then for Tobor with a Class C, there's a scout base on an 8 or better. So yeah, we do have a scout base here. Scout. And we can add that into Tobor, like so. Okay. And I mean, I can put, and I've been writing that down here, whether it has gas or not. But I'll get to that here in a little bit. I'll do that off camera. There's no sense in making you guys watch me do pure bookkeeping. Now we can go to Vegas. Let's do Vegas 762, and go ahead and hit me with suggestions if you can think of a reason that we explain why these bizarre worlds turn out the way they do. I'll also point out. Remember a few episodes when we did the laptop version and we just generated like 8 planets in rapid succession? That Donjon planetary system, it's a planet UPP generator, and it includes a lot of the post Little Black Book additions. It's got whether, exactly how many planets are in the system, what's the star type, how many gas giants, how many rocky planets, is there an asteroid belt or not? It includes all of that. Now, the systems that we generated did say whether or not there was a scout base there, but because that website tells you what the starport was like, and I had already generated the starport for where there were planets, I used the starport that I generated, not the one that was generated for that system on the website. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. The stuff that I've already generated, it's canon. I'm not going to fix it. But so I had to go back and roll for those using my analog chance cubes. Hey, Megabuster. I'm so glad you can make it today. Megabuster is one of my favorite follows over on Twitter. He's got good takes. Hot takes, but they're good. Dice Tales. I frequently find myself sitting on the brains of the outfit. Yeah, I'm routinely looking for my own brains in that same location, Dice Tales. Megabuster Shepard has no lead, and he must draw. Corvinus, thinking of the peacekeepers in Farscape that are a military but don't control an empire exactly. Yeah, and in a sense, what did they call the Union in Firefly? Not the Combine. I can't remember what it was. But those guys are the same thing, where they have complete and unlimited power out in the fringes, but they only ever really exercise that power when they have a financial vested interest in wielding that power. So by and large, they're just kind of this like outside threat, and maybe that's what these naval bases are. But I'm perfectly happy on the Outlands, where there isn't that, like, there's you can't pick up the phone and say, "Daddy, he's being mean to me. Will you come smack him?" You're stuck with the semi-corrupt feudal, not as corrupt as like real world corporations, because it's a feudal system. If they're mistreating you, you can go somewhere else. So that is a great point. Not much skimmable fuel around, yeah. The desert is wet and cold. Christopher's in the house. Thank you, Christopher. Today is good for the flowers, bad for the sandworms. Yeah. We're not generating any spice. Chegs, thanks for going early again. Chegs, I owe you. You know what I saw here? Look what I did. I feel a little embarrassed. I didn't check my notes close enough. I owe you one, Mr. Chambers. If we go to my Chad notes, which are sketchy at best, the blog is the best way. We had already determined that the Chegs Venture was going to be the starship. I forgot about that, and we went with the Money Crater. So Chegs Venture It 400-ton freighter slated to arrive and maybe take on Chad. Oh, Captain Herndon. That's why I was drawing a blank. I was like, I know I named something after Jeremy. I did. I just didn't have it on my paper or in my head. I only had it on paper. So I've already paid back Herndon by naming this wonderful little planet with what's our profile here? Herndon with 50,000 people. It's a water planet with very dense atmosphere. Herndon, your planet is dense. Read into that what you will. They have fusion power, and it's a lawless place. They're very Gadsden Flagian over there, if you know what I'm saying. Hey, let's roll some dice. Let's do Vegas 762. Why did they append 762 to Vegas? I don't know. But what I do know is I got to roll 2d6 and for the planetary size, and it's a bit of a whomper. We got to subtract 2 from that. 8,000 miles across. So here's where I have my planetary profile. And off camera, again, when I have a few quiet moments away from you guys, I will transfer the UPPs to my one sheet right there. And this is how I reminded myself, oh yeah, you should probably make those worlds. So 2d6 minus a 2. Wait a minute. Why do we have planetary size is generated minus an automatic DM of minus 2. The resulting ranges from 0 to 10. Okay, great, 0 to 10. Why do we have 11 and 12 in here if you have an automatic minus 2? Mark, you're killing me with this stuff. What are you doing? What is the meaning of this? And then there's also, he's got his cheat sheet for generate planetary size. And it confirms here on this page, size is 2D minus 2. So, okay, I guess there are planets that are 12,000 miles across, but you can't generate them normally. Oops. Well, okay, that's fine. Then we go on to the second phase, which is the atmosphere. This is going to be a 2d6 plus 1. The atmosphere is a 10. We've got an exotic atmo. We got a lot of those in this sector too. Exotic atmo. I can't roll 10 for population to save my life. Our population, now here we have 2d6 minus 2. There's no other, oh wait, no, I got to do water first, don't I? It's 2d6. With the exotic atmosphere, that changes things. For, if your atmosphere, doesn't it? Hydrographic. Yeah, it's a DM of, it's 2d7, 2d6, 2d7, 2d6, minus 7, so I get a 4, minus 7, I think we got our desert world here, guys, but you got to add the atmosphere of 10, so we actually add 3 to this, that's 7, but because the atmosphere is greater than 9, we subtract another 3, 2d7, minus atmosphere, plus minus 7, so we're 4 minus 7 is negative 3, plus 10 is 7, minus 4 is 3, so our hydrographic is going to be 30% water. Okay. Then we roll for the population, 2d6 minus 2. Big money, no whammies, 5. Okay, this is probably explains why we don't have a whole lot of people in our, I'm getting all the big rolls early in our system. Rolling d6, so we have 10,000 people. Wait, is it 10 or is it 100,000? 5. Oh, we have 100,000. Okay, I'll take it. So this is going to be a good stop for our captain. There's 5d6 tons of cargo waiting to be shipped there. On a typical roll, we're going to get a 16 tons, but I got to roll one more. So 22 tons, that is 110,000 credits worth of cargo that needs to be hauled to this place. So this is going to be a good one. I'm liking Sean or wait, which one are we doing here? I'm liking Vegas. Vegas might be our first stop. And then we have our government type, which is at a, let's see, 2D minus 7 plus the pop. So with a pop of 5, we're at a total of minus 2. So 8 for the law. And for the, 8 for the government. And then add 1 to that, 5 for the law. That means our government is a civil bureaucracy. We're getting a lot of those in this system too. Civil bureau. And then our law of 5 means pistols and revolvers are prohibited. Law 5, no pistols, revolvers. But our man with a shotgun in his coat is free to walk around all he likes. Then we roll a d6 for the tech level. It's going to be 3 plus our starport of E means nothing. Oh, it's a starport E. Interesting. I don't know if we even can get down. There really is no starport here. All right, well, because we have a size of 8, we don't care about that. Because our atmosphere is exotic, this becomes a 4. Because our hydrosphere is 3, it's nothing. Because our population is 5, this becomes tech 5. And our government of 8 means nothing, so a tech level 5. 3 plus 2, that's all we got. And a tech level of 5 means pistols, mortars are available, computers model 1, radio. There's no TV. Tech level 5. This is the lowest tech level we've seen so far. No TV makes John a very dull boy. And we're done. So I'm not going to go through all the details of this guy. I want to get these dice rolling and all this math out of the way. Then we can have some fun with why the heck is this world like the way it is? Who did they annoy that they should be like that? Planetary size, 2d6. This size is used in Book 1 to compute gravitational strengths. It's used in Book 2 for planetary templates for miniature space combat. Now, won't that be fun when we get to that? So we get 7,000 square feet. Miles in diameter across, and then we get our atmosphere of, it's a straight 2d6. So Atmo is 3, which is very thin. I did that backwards. We get 7, 3, thin Atmo. I could use the computer program, but I am committed. And this is one of the reasons somebody suggested, hey, why don't you grab a copy of the 1001 NPCs supplement and just start grabbing NPCs from there? And the answer is, well, because I want to incorporate you guys into my game. And also because I want to make sure that I'm... All right, so I'm cheating a little bit by using online generators. But I want to show you that I'm generating this as I go, and I'm not just pulling whole cloth from things other people did. I rather enjoy this process. I think just sitting here rolling dice and kind of, looking at the tea leaves and trying to figure out what they mean, this is the innocent and non-demonic version of the tarot cards, which we don't go with because those actually tap into very dark powers, and we don't need to risk that, man. If a lifetime of horror movies has taught me anything, don't mess with the dark supernatural. Go to church on Sunday. So now we're at atmosphere, which is 2d6 minus 7 plus the size, which is a straight 2d6. Once again, I get the big roll. We've got an exotic Atmo. Wait. No, I already did atmosphere. What am I doing? This is hydrographic is 2d6 minus 7. All right, so our atmosphere was 3. I think we don't have to deal with that. Yeah, it's 0, 1, or 2. Okay, good. We're at 10 for the water, minus 7, plus 3, so that's a total of minus 4. So 60% water coverage. All right, now that's pretty reasonable. We don't usually land in the middle on atmosphere, do we? Population, big money, no whammies, we get a 5. Okay, so that means we're going to have hundreds of thousands. We have 100,000 people, and of course that's where the ones come up. 100,000 souls on Shauner. Oh, by the way, we're doing Shauner now. So that is a 5. Now, whether it's 100,000 or 600,000, that doesn't make any difference as far as our cargo is concerned. But it is disappointing that we don't have more people. I really like people, and I want more people around. The next thing we do is our governmental type, and that is a -7, takes us down to a 1. And then you add the population digit. So the government is 6. Captive government. And that's always fun. Ruling factions are performed by an imposed leadership answerable to an outside group, colony, or conquered area. And this is Shauner, we said? So Shauner here, oh, that's the one way down here. This is Shauner with the gas giant is captive. I don't know who it's captive to. Maybe they answer to Corvinus? I'm not sure. Let's find out what the, I'm going to re-roll to find out what the nominal government is. And nominally, it is a 5 -7 plus the population, so -2. It is a self-perpetuating oligarchy, so restricted minority. So what we have here is a royalty, a royal family who has sold the family jewels, or at least rented them, probably to Corvinus. I'm guessing Corvinus is the industrial heart of this zone. Maybe they run things, but I'm not entirely sure yet. We'll have to circle back around to that. Law levels are going to be a 6 -7 plus the government type, which was 3. So 7A5. Captive, no, it was a 6 is the real government. So -7 plus 6, subtract 1, it's going to be a 5. Law level 5. Law 5, and once again we're back to no concealed carry permits allowed. And then we can do our D6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, that's 5, 6, 5. 7, 3, 8, 5, 6, 5. And then for tech level, ooh, we got a big one. We get a 6. And then our starport is a D class, so we don't add anything for that. Our size is no addition. With an atmosphere of 3, this becomes a 7. So 7. And then our hydrosphere is too low. Our population is low enough to turn the tech level into an 8. This is really elegant. And then it's a captive government, so tech level 8 dash. So tech level 8, which you will recall means laser carbines, fusion power, tech level 8, which is fusion power. For the 100,000 who owe allegiance to the Corvinus Corporation Venus. Now we get to Tobor, planet of the robots. First roll, number 7, planetary size, 7,000 miles. Wait, no, it's -2. 5,000 miles across. Ooh, she's a little one. So 5,000 miles. And we are at, that means we're going to be at 2d6 -2. So we get a trace atmosphere. Once again, man, we haven't had a thin or a standard trace atmo. Such an unfriendly portion. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, just trace, because that's a result of a 1. All right. 2d6 -11, because we only have a trace atmosphere. 2d6 -11. Wow. So it's going to be a 0, no water. Finally got a desert planet. And then we have our population, which is 2d6 -2. Booyah! 10. We finally got our A. How about that? I've been waiting so long for that. 5, 1, 0, A. How many billions? Tens of billions of people. 10 billion with a B. That's a lot of zeros. I'm just going to write down 10 billion. 10 billion people. Oh, this is going to be so dystopian. This one might be industrial. 10 billion people. All right, we'll take it. And then we roll 4. our planetary government, which is going to be at -7 plus 10. So this will be +3 to the government. AA. Oh, they're so harsh. We have a charismatic dictator. Charismatic dictator. Who rules? Who rules Tobor Town? A single leader who enjoys the overwhelming confidence. Oh, people like him though. All right. That's a little different. And then the law level is going to be, I get a 6, and then from that we have to subtract 7 and add the government. So we add a total of 3. Lock him down. No weapons are allowed at all. And then tech level, big roll, no whammies, tech level 1. But we do have some, oh, no weapons allowed. That's going to be a, I think 9 is as high as it goes. Yeah, AA 9. And then our tech level will be 1. We have a Class C starport that goes up to 3. We have a size of 5, which does us, oh wait, no, we have a size of 5. We have an atmosphere of 1, which takes it up to a 4. Our hydrosphere does us no good. Our population takes this up to an 8. And then our government is, that's it. So we have a tech level of 8. It's funny how they cluster there right around that 8, isn't it? Which, once again, as with before, is fusion power. So we're looking at, relatively speaking, like the 2040s level of tech. Not what we got here. I need to take a look here. Stonchik, people long for desert. Everyone wants Barsoom, don't they? In Proto Traveler, they're only referenced obliquely later on, says Cyrek. Official species are included for the Third Imperium, including the Vargur. Some people play with them, some don't. What was the first one in Traveler 2300? It's not the Vargur. It's the, I can't remember what it was called. It sounds like one of the Arabic slurs for foreigners is what I always think of when I hear it. I can never remember what it is now. Maybe they changed that because they wanted to be more sensitive. So there's no gas giant. There is a scout base. Tobor is interesting. Maybe our charismatic dictator. Do we have AI at tech level 8? Like legitimate AI, not the like statistical analysis and outputs that we market as AI because it sounds cool, even though it's really just a bunch of nerds programming and moderating and, you know, basically filtering their own thoughts through a computer to say that they're objectively correct. This is going to be the one, man. I'm just kind of like spitballing this. I think what you got to do, taking a look at our route, and this is one of the things I want to do. I want to commit to a route of like 4 or 5 planets. Well, let's take a look. When you have a subsidized starship, which we do, our 600-ton merchant vessel is subsidized. It says you need to trace a path among, was it like 3 to 12? I mean, I can look. Crew salaries, maintenance. It's actually listed under the, getting better at this. I know right where to find it. Standard starship designs. The subsidized merchant, type 600 hull. A little hard to find artwork of these, by the way. I'm a little surprised. I thought Traveler had a bigger enough reputation that, aside from the scout ship and the free trader, I don't really see a whole lot of artwork for some of these other things, like a yacht. There's a couple of things for the yacht, and then a few for the cruiser. But most of the, like when you go online, I wanted to find something like a ship that I could use as the merchant ship, and I just couldn't find a whole lot of good ones. We're using the Type M, not the Type R. There's a couple of really interesting ones, the artwork for the Type R, but for the Type N, it's a bit of a void, if you will. The computer Model 3, the ship has jumped. Wait, oh God! You know, I thought I was so smart. Oh, humiliated again. The rules for purchasing a starship and subsidies are right here. The government may subsidize larger vessels built on Type 600, which is what we got. and they are generally assigned a specific route connecting from 2 to 12 worlds of varying characteristics. It will be determined before the merchant is purchased, right? So you can tailor the design. Yeah, I get that, okay? So we may even be hauling water to Tobor because Corvinus has a bunch and Tobor has none. Maybe they'll pay a premium for fresh seawater. We haven't really figured out the salinity of Corvinus. We haven't gotten that far. But this may be the issue that we need to handle the expenses on a longer term like horizon. For the Black Raven, remember, we were doing it on a month by month. Every month that we fall behind, it becomes more likely that the bill collectors come. But we don't really have a bill collector here. What we have is at the end of the year, you need to be able to meet your expenses. Well, let's back up a step. The subsidies are the government takes payment, is paying for it, but they get 50% of the gross receipts. We're responsible for everything else. So whatever we make, half of that goes right off the top, like kapow, right to the government. And then our expenses have to come out of what's left over. So I'm not quite sure. Let's focus, stupid camera. I'm not quite sure how that works yet. I need to figure that out on the fly through play. But essentially, we may need to set up some short-term operating loans so that if we don't make enough money hauling from Corvinus to Shauner, that we can make up for the difference when we go from Shauner to Tobor. If you follow me. Like, it's okay to lose money this month if we're going to make up enough to get us back into the black. So we ran in the red by 25,000, but when we ship to Tobor, we'll be in the black by 50, so we're back up to that 25,000 credit cushion. And again, I think the general design of this game is such that it forces you to run in the red so that you will take bigger risks and you will find adventure by hauling illegal goods at a markup. Because again, I don't even think that given the tables for hauling on the side, given the way these tables work, I don't know that you can run breaking even. Like, you need that incentive to create the adventures. That's the whole point of things, is that there's no way you can legally stay ahead of the tax man. So you have to do it on the sly or not at all. There may be a life lesson in there somewhere. I don't know. But the other thing that we can do here, before we forget, is to take a look at, and I'm glad I'm on this page right now. The other thing that will be an issue is we want to look for agricultural worlds and non-agricultural, and we only have the 3 that we need to look at. So let's do that real quick. And that's going to be, for agricultural, you need an atmosphere of 4. Oh, got it. And you need a hydro of, oh, we don't got it. So atmo of 4 to 9, got it. Hydro of 4, nope. Atmosphere of 4 to 9, got it. Hydro of, nope. Vegas is a water planet, no dice. What about non-agriculture? If the atmosphere is 3 or less, so that's, let me turn the page here so I can, close, almost spilled my drink. All right, so the next order of business is non-agricultural, and we got to check the atmosphere, hydro, and population. So the atmosphere has to be 3 or less, which is check, check, no dice. So these 2 might be non-agricultural. Hydro of 3 or less, and that is our 3rd, so check. Tobor is not agricultural. And population of 6 or greater, which we got. So this is a not, funnily enough, they're not growing any food on the planet that's got no water. Now, it's got no water, but I'm pretty sure it's got what plants crave. They probably make Brondo here, and maybe that's why they're struggling. Maybe that's why Tobor has to import all that fresh seafood from Corvinus. Industrial worlds have trash atmospheres, which we've got a couple of those, don't we? Yes. You need a 1, 2, 4, 7, or 9. So yes, Oh, you know what? This is the only one that might be industrial and a population of 9 or more. Well, the only one we've got with a population of 9 or more is Tobor, and its atmosphere sucks. So yeah, oh, look at that. We got another industrial world. Tobor, that makes Tobor a factory planet, not necessarily a desert planet. Maybe it was once a rich and lush jungle planet, but it's been completely contaminated by the industrial practices. That feels maybe. I mean, maybe it's an industrial planet because it's a desert planet. You know, instead of oh well, we built factories and trashed the place. Maybe they said if we have to build factories, why don't we build it someplace that's already trashed? Population of 6 or less. That's going to be U, non-industrial. And that's going to be U, are also non-industrial. And then rich worlds. You got a fancy government type? Well, we do. 4 to 9. Oh, no. Our government is A. That's the only one that might have been. What about poor worlds? If your Atmo is 2 to 5, 5. Oh, and a hydro of 3 or less. Yup. Aw. Wait, Tobor is industrial and poor. Atmosphere of, oh no, wait. Yeah, atmosphere 2 to 5. Hydro of 3 or less. Yeah, it's a poor factory town. Interesting. That explains why they elected a charismatic dictator. Because he keeps promising to improve their lives and then not delivering. Atmosphere of, yeah, that's it. So there's our categories. Non-industrial, non-ag, industrial poor, non-industrial, non-industrial. So I think maybe Tobor is where we're going. Maybe they elected an AI to run things. Maybe it's a couple of mice who are mere extensions of multidimensional beings trying to find the secret to life, the universe, and I mean, not necessarily everything, but you know, just most things. I don't need everything. I'm pretty easygoing. Can you tell me the meaning of most? I actually know the meaning of most things because I was educated using the Baltimore Catechism. 3 little rules, guys. Look it up. Baltimore Catechism. It tells you the meaning of life. It's that simple. I don't have to worry about jump lanes. What I do want to look up, though, is I just want to look. How we making money? And at this point, it might be useful. Let me show you something. I wonder if this would help us solidify our thoughts for what our pattern is going to be. We have... I'm going to do a simple diagram here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 systems here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And wouldn't you know it, they're kind of aligned just like this. They are, oh boy. There you go. So see how we got 2, 2, and 2? That's what I've got here. And I'm not worried about their names. I'm not worried about much. What I am worried about right now is population to start with. Okay? Throw 2 dice, noting the results. Create. Oh, wait. So first of all, throw the number of dice and multiply as, wait a minute. A trader with cargo space. The referee throws 2 dice, notes the results to create a number between 1 and 66. All right, but that's the trade and speculation table. What I first want to do is take a look at, and that's for our captain. That's for Captain Deuce, trying to figure out what he wants to spend his own money on. Before we get to that, I want to look at how you're making money. And the easy one, the one that is easiest to wrap your head around is cargo. You're going to roll a number of dice equal to the population number of the destination. So, I guess I don't need this anymore. So, actually I do because I can't remember what these are. So, for Cyric and Herndon, and I just generated this. You think I'd be better at this. For Cyric and Herndon, our population numbers are 4 and 2. So I'm just going to write those down. I got a 4 and I got a 2. Did I get them backwards? No, I did not. Okay, so for Vegas and Tobor, I've got populations of For Vegas, it's 6, and for Tobor, it's A. So 6 and 10. And then for Shauner and Corvinus, well, Corvinus down here has a population of 7, and Shauner has the population of 5. So honestly, we're not doing too bad. I think we can make this work. If I could make my Zoom work, huh? 2, 4, 6, 10, 5, and 7. We may cut Herndon out completely. There may not be anything at Herndon for us to ship for. But the way you make money is acquire to starport. The referee should determine all worlds accessible. A number basically the population number of each die represents a shipment for where you're going. Right. So we have to choose, and the fun thing is, with the exception of Cyric and Shauner, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, every other system is within 3 of every other system. So we can do this in any order we want. We can go from Corvinus to Herndon as the first leg of our journey, but we're going to start out losing a lot of money because we're only going to be getting, well, okay, so I rolled an 11 this time, but even that's just 55,000 credits for the 11 tons of material that we're shipping. It's not great, guys. It's not great. It's going to cost us like $100,000 a jump. On the other hand, if we go straight to the 10, we will be front loading and running in the black right away. If we just kind of go around the horn like this, we're going to have some issues with picking people up and dropping people off. And that's the other thing is, you take a look at your destination. I think ultimately the order, maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe the order doesn't matter that much. If we just set ourselves a goal, Chad is going to kind of he's going to just go around the horn here. He's going to hit the cycle and he's going to visit all of these planets. Then what you can do is just figure out, like when we get back, maybe that's the story is run the circuit, and then just don't worry about it for now. We're gonna do these. This is gonna be the next 12 weeks of the campaign with some side quests, right, on the planet side. You know what the big thing is though? And then this is where you say, all right, let's stop and see where we're at financially. Did we gain money? Did we lose money? Where are we at? But the biggest thing that you have to remember is, for our purposes, Cyric is the other place that you can get refined fuel. So if our second, we might want to put him in the middle. We may want to go 1, 2, 3. I think this may be our best bet. Maybe we go 1, 2, 3, and then come down to here, because then we can come back. Honestly, I'm thinking that might be the way to do it, because we want to put our refresh with, we have refined fuel here, and we have refined fuel here. So if we go 1 to 6, 1, 2, 3, then we get refined fuel, and we can go 1, 2, and 3. We get refined fuel there. I think that's going to be our system that our subsidized merchant trader has to follow. Okay? Is my thinking straight on that? I'm going to go through. We're going to do a little bit of chatting with the guys in the chat room, and go ahead and let me know if you think that's a reasonable approximation. Going from 7 to 6, we take a little bit of a hit, and then we make some big money, big money, big money. And likewise, to and from the populated planet here, to and from Tobor, that's going to be where we make serious money on the passengers too. This leg of the journey from 10 to 5, let's just take a look at that. When we're going from 10 to 5, we're going to have a total of positive white, negative for the black. Okay, so nobody on the originating world, but because we're going to a Class 5 world, we got nobody is traveling high? That seems a little weird to me. All right, nobody wants to leave. So maybe I'm wrong. This is why we go through this, right? On our first leg, and this is just an example, we'll roll officially after we get our crew situated. We're going from a 7 to a 6, so we roll 3D minus 2D. So I get a 10 minus 7. So I've got 3, but because I'm going to a 6 planet, I don't make any adjustments on high. So there's 30 grand on high passage. Then you repeat it for middle. So remember that. We get 12 minus 7. So we have 5 middle passengers. And again, no adjustment. So that's another 40. So what did I say? We had 3 plus 5. So that's like 70 grand just for the passengers. And then 3 dice. We've got 10, but we have to subtract the 1 because we're going to a class 6. So that's another 9,000. So we're going to be making like 80 grand just on the passengers. And then you roll the dice 6 times for the total tonnage because we're going to a class 6. And we get 8. Okay, but it's 6 times, so 8. And then we get another 4, so another 14. So there's our another 70. So that's 150,000 credits. So we actually will, I think on this leg, we stand a very good chance of at least breaking even, maybe coming out a little bit of ahead, which is good, because going from a 6 to a 2, then you take a look, and it's the same thing where you've got 3D, 12 minus 2, minus 8. Well, look at that. We got 4. Oh, but we're going to a 2. So you have to subtract 1. So we have 3 high passage, 30K. And then, again, we repeat the process. 9 minus 4 is 5. Oh, but we have to subtract 2, so 3. So we were at 30,000. Now we're at 54,000. And at a 6, we've got 3 dice low passages. That's 10 minus 4. We got 6 of those. So we were at, what did I say, like 60,000. And then another 6 of those is going to be 66,000. So that's just for the passengers. And that's fine. 66,000 is okay. But we're only packing 25. That's 93,000 credits. We're going to lose a little bit of money on that leg of the journey. And then we're going to lose a little bit more. But boy, howdy, are we going to make it up through here, right? Ideally, we'll see. Remember that Munderdoos is going to have, for every ton we're going to lose 10 credits because we have to pay to get it shipped down to the surface. The other question is how does the starports, can you buy fuel at a Class E starport? You might not be able to. That might be an issue for us. Vegas might not be on the docket because Vegas might, with that Class E starport, and we can write those down here, B, D, E, C, and then DC. So how does the starports affect our hauling? On the one hand, other channels will go through all of this offline, and they'll write up a whole blog post and then read it to you, where you have to look at their goofy faces and watch them like point to like fancy stuff. But I think it's worthwhile to show you. Listen, even if you weren't here, I would be enjoying this process. All I've done is I've invited you into my home and invited you to help contribute to it. I enjoy this process. I don't understand people that don't. I don't understand people that automate it. I don't understand people that want to do this off camera so they don't bore you. To me, this is not prep. This is the game. I'm not preparing to play the game. I'm playing the game. All right. So I was asking about starports. No provision is made for any starship landings. Frontier, bare spot of rock with no fuel facilities or bases. Vegas might not be on the docket here, guys. You know, the other thing you can do, so my guess is that E is linked to the rest of the world, of the universe, through C. That they've got specialized freight haulers that are making this run from Tobor to Vegas. We can change this however we want. We could skip E altogether. Sorry, Vegas. Your plan is just too dang boring. We could, remember, this is a thing you can do. We could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. right? This is a perfectly acceptable route to do this loop and then come back and do this loop. But our headquarters will still be down here at Corvinus. Because that way we hit 6 planets, but we're hitting the big 10 spot multiple times. I think this may be our route to success. I mean, you could just go back and forth like this, but where's the fun in that, right? Let's see, what are we talking about here? Kafer, thank you, Kafer Dawn. Corvinus, you get the no prize today. Kafer Dawn, that was my first introduction to Traveler. It was Traveler 2300, the Kafer Dawn, which was like, hey guys, we've been doing this for 15 years and we've never had aliens. Here's aliens. And I was like, this is the very first book I've ever read. And you're telling me that this is brand new? Okay. Like, I get it. I get that. It's fine. Kafer, I gotta remember that though. Hey nerds, how you doing, Penfold? Going way early today. Yeah, the thing is, I really like to go early so that once in a while I can, I want to invite my East Coast Yanks to participate and give them a little opportunity. Usually we go at like 2 in the morning. In Proto Traveler, they're only referenced obliquely. Yeah, we did that already. People long for the desert. AI comes super, super late, like TL15. All right, well, maybe we're going with the Star Lost situation where it's... a thought just struck me. The Star Lost was a short story that I read that was by... who's that cranky old science fiction guy? And they turned it into a Canadian show, but it really didn't work. And in that, it's... Look how clever this is. These people have an AI, and then they hide behind the curtain and hope that Toto doesn't reveal them. Wait a minute. You think you're so clever, but all you did was reinvent the Wizard of Oz? Come on now, brother. You're not that clever. But of course, this being a book by the New Wave authors in the 1970s, the AI was a religious thing, and the guys that were running things were religious guys, because that's all religion is about, is controlling people. Total snoozeville. Totally missing the point. But it's... I wish some of my Pulp Rev friends were here yet. But that could be, right? Maybe it's a fake AI. Oh, no, yeah, it's totally AI. You should do whatever the AI says. Let me just tap, 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 tap. The AI says that you should, give me lots of the cocaine and whores. We ice pirates now. Yeah, boy. Oh, by the way, guys, my dad gave me our pontoon boat and new carpet, but the underside is solid. Hey, fantastic, Mega Buster Shepard. I love to hear that. Smuggling should be easy. Just write gift on the contraband. There we go. Christopher Sebald's here for the ride to Fluston. Are you on the ride for... The YouTube app won't let me lock in my... This is driving me crazy. I swear to God. I swear to heaven, and I got to be careful there. I really need to get the scratch to get a real camera. That would probably be a forgery roll for the paperwork. But a cunning ploy, yeah, until someone boards and asks where the invisible passengers are. The ship smells so dank. Doradal, I am absolutely winning. Because I'm having fun. That's all it takes. Is there an automated tool for this process? Penfold, go to Donjon, DONJON.com. DJ, your namesake is an island. It is, yeah. Our East Coast Yankees appreciate it. Harlan Ellison, thank you, Bradford. I knew I could count on you guys. All of us are smarter than any of us, and Bradford is smarter than most of us. Oh, Weema's in the house. Happy St. Patty's Day, my big friend. Glad to have you around. That is a great solution. AI behind the veil. 70s writers had odd personal lives. Yeah, they had some weird proclivities. That's why 20s and 30s sci-fi authors are more fun. The East Coast loves you being on. I know. I love. But we got to spread the love. And who knows, maybe someday we can schedule it for a time that works for all of our time zones. What do you guys think, though? You think this is a good plan? 7-10-2-4-10-5-7? And then we'll let the locals decide how to get stuff from 10 to 2, 6. Maybe there's some subsidized carriers that are rolling. Man, I don't know, man. The problem is there's no fuel. I can't carry enough fuel to get there. Unless there's like bladders that you can purchase. Tell you what, let's do this. Let's get through this first circuit, And then maybe we can incorporate some of the rules for later. I believe later supplements did include rules for like fuel expansion tanks. Essentially the big center phallus on the old space shuttle. Remember that, kids? Remember the space shuttle, kids? It was a tiny little plane and it had 3 big boosters. Maybe we could get one of those boosters as a bladder. And there'd be some cost, right? Maybe it's a 5-ton bladder that holds 180 tons of fuel, so that after you make your jump out there, you can collapse it down to 5 tons of hull space, and that does reduce the amount of cargo you can hold. So there's an opportunity cost there, but at least then you can make this run to E, and maybe you have to run back and forth. Maybe this is an optional leg where you roll your 6 dice to find out how much tonnage there is, and then you can use that. So let's back up a step. Remember that when you are figuring out what your potential cargoes are, normally what you would do is you would actually roll to find out. So we're on Corvinus right now, and we have all of these systems are reachable. So I would roll 5, 6, 10, 4, and 2 to find out what the total, like, this is the stuff that there are contracts open for, and I can pick whichever one I want. So if I roll and I get, oh, you know what, I rolled really badly and there's only 12 tons of material despite rolling 10 dice, the odds are pretty low, but you know me. I may actually decide, oh, well, I rolled a 28 here and a 20 here. I'm going to go here first. That's what you can do if you're running a free trader. That's what you can do if your ship is not subsidized. Our ship is subsidized. You have to make this first and then follow that, at least if you're trying to adhere to the rules as closely as possible. Remember, in a sense, you're a hired hand here. You have been loaned a spaceship, and in the event of interstellar war, it can be pressed into service. If we do decide that one of these planetary systems, maybe Tobor, has been... Oh, wait, is Tobor the one with the captive government? I'm forgetting now. Who's got the captive government? No, it's Shauner, right? Maybe Shauner over here, down here, decides to rebel and break away from the Corvinus Republic. You know, maybe there's a shooting match that appears here, and Corvinus says, we need you to come back, forget your route, get back here now. In which case, I don't know how that affects the operational costs. We have to pay for fuel, we have to pay for upkeep, we have to handle all the salaries and all of that. I'm guessing all of that gets put on hold if we get drafted into the military service to come back down here. And then we don't have to worry about it. Then we just generate a whole bunch of solo missions for, blockade running, for example. Or, we have to deliver 100 tons of, well, let's take a look here at the vehicles that you can buy. We have to grab a... Where's our support vehicles? I think they are here. They're actually in the trade goods. That's where you put your support vehicles. AFV, experience, trade and commerce. Maybe we need to do a broker. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Maybe we hire a broker so we get commissions and get better trade deals. Where's our air cars? Where's our air rafts? Traveling. Hijacking. Maybe we get called up. Maybe the pirates start showing up and we get called in to fight with the pirates. Passengers. Hull types. Maneuvers. Turrets. Weaponry. That's not it. Starship crews. Yeah, we got those. Non-starships like lifeboats. That's not what I'm looking for. I don't care about that stuff. I'm looking for air rafts. Is that in? I thought that was in the trade goods. We got to do this once an episode, It's required now. Maybe it's in the equipment section. Yeah, there you go. Vehicles. So, an all-terrain vehicle, an armored fighting vehicle. Here we go. It weighs 10 tons, which means we may need to deliver 10 of these to a war-torn planet, and they will pay us a 10% markup for hazardous duty pay. 5 probably. It's 5. You know, because they don't care about us. They just want to give us an incentive to get their expensive starship back in one piece. I'm done, man. That's all I wanted to do today. I think next time, like I said, the starship money crater, and keep an eye out. I made up a little logo for it. It's I'll sketch it out for you right now. This is the logo on the side of the money crater. It's 8 triangles, kind of like a chaos symbol. Ooh, I didn't think about that. Ooh, maybe that's bad. Almost like it. See, it looks like a crater, right? And then on the inside is MCR, because see the money is in the crater. I was originally going to do the 8-pointed star with a dollar sign, and then I started looking around and I said, "What's the universal symbol for dollars in credits?" And they said, "Oh, the symbol is CR." Really? That's it? You don't have like a C and an R on top of each other, or like, you know, British pounds, whatever that silly little L is, or, you know, the cool yen, the like upside down Y with a hat. I can't remember what yen looks like. It's just MCR. Ugh, boy, Mark Miller, you gotta go, if you ever like time travel. I need to make a meme. Girls with a time machine. I'm your granddaughter. Boys with a time machine. Mark, come up with a decent symbol for credits that's not just the letters. Because if I had a time machine, that would be my top priority, right? All right, guys, I'm done. I'm just goofing off now. Cyric digs the MCR. You need to get back to instigate a war to cover your expenses. That's right. Hey, if war is good for business, then you got to be a little proactive here. I'm saving up on my vacation days to fly out to Hawaii from Malacon. John Con, I think. I tried to run. One of these days, I need to tell you guys about the convention that I ran back in my, as they call it, the salad days. I tried to run one. I tried to run a convention in Philadelphia at the age of 30, and nobody was biting. But there's reasons for that. What do we got here? The Hanseatic League and the contours. Yep. The Corvinus shows us the Turkish lira symbol, which is a fish hook with a couple of T's across the top. It's a fish hook with like a couple of T's. It's like, yeah, it's pretty good. I like that. Starting wars is an old and honorable profession. Yeah, give war a chance. Red line goes up if you're fighting a war. The other really excellent automated tool page is Traveler Tools. It has automated trade, patron, world gens, but it is geared towards Mongoose too. Donjon has, you can generate, really all Donjon has is, I think it'll generate one of these maps for you, and then it also has a system generator, so it'll make the planets and the whole systems. So there will be a little bit of repetition. The other wonderful generator, and this is my plan for a future episode, particularly an episode for figuring out some profiles for these guys. I've already done Munderdeus and, of course, Chad Solo, but that still leaves me with 8 more guys that I got to generate. Rather than rolling them all up like we did here, I'll probably use, there's a wonderful little classic Traveler character generator. And then just to kind of ruin the surprise, what we'll do is we'll figure out what our needs are. And there's 2 ways to do it. Like if you were playing, the one time that I almost jumped in a game, I just, give me a character, and then I had a character, and I don't remember anything about him. But for us, and that's a legitimate way to do this, because it goes through the whole step-by-step process, and it just spits out the character sheet. But it tells you, okay, he went into the Navy, and then he did this, and then in his second term he did this, and then he died. So you go, okay, good, refresh, and then it will show you, okay, this character went into the Army. And first it gives you his profile, like his final profile, his age, his rank when he left the service, and then it goes through the whole thing of, in his first term, he survived, and he got a commission, so he got skills. And then his second term, he went in, and he survived, and he got a skill. And then he was denied a third term, so he's 26 years old, and here's his, like, 2 or 3 skills. And then it even gives you all the things he comes out with. So if we're going to generate this whole staff, I think there's 2 ways to do it. One is treat these guys the way you treat NPCs on the random events table. And that means just do their strength, dexterity, and stamina. and assume that your engineers all have engineering 1 skill, and assume that your stewards have steward 1 skill, and your navigator, well, we know what he has, or your medic has, Lane Los Chapa, he has medic 1 skill. You could do it that way. I think it's a legitimate way of making up NPCs. It's why this game is so elegant and sophisticated, and why this game is designed for a better class of role-playing gamer. Like you guys. This pandering moment has been brought to you by Good and Gather Watermelon Lime Sparkling Water. Seriously, though, I love you guys. I think what I would do is I would say, okay, look, I know I need a pilot, a medic, engineer, steward, and a gunner. So I'll hit refresh until I get a steward. All right, steward 1. And the first guy that has steward 1, I don't care anything else about him, he becomes John Jefferson. Refresh, refresh, refresh. There's a steward 1. Okay, or steward 2 maybe would be our John Jefferson. Steward 1 for the assistant, and the assistant 2 the steward. And likewise, I get somebody with engineering, kapow. I don't care what his other skills are. I just need an engineer. Give me an engineer. And then that way, what's happening here is, instead of trusting to the dice themselves, what I've done is I've created a requirement. I need an engineer. I'm going to hit refresh until I get engineer, but I've randomized the entire rest of his profile. He might be an old man with 6 terms of service. He might be a kid that got engineer and potato wrangling 1. Those are his 2 skills, engineering and potato wrangling. Fresh off the farm, he went into the service, learned to be an engineer, and then got thrown out for making vodka in the bathroom still. So that's kind of what I'm thinking we'll do in the next episode, and then we'll have some time that we can actually figure out what our trade stuff is going to be. Hey, Sapper Joe, good to see you. I'm glad you caught this live. Anyway, I'm praying for you.